So, a very warm welcome and hello everyone, all of you. This is 10th edition of Anubhav. So, myself Manish from UNIMA India, and we have in our guest today Clément Peretjatko from France. So, some general announcement before we begin. Uh, Please say a hello or write your name in the chat box and your country from where you are joining today. You can keep your microphone on mute when not in use, and you can keep your video on if you like, and off if your networks are unstable. Regarding question and answer during the session, you can either raise your hands at the end or during the conversation, if you have any question, you can just write and type it in the chat box. We can take all the questions after the session. So let's begin. So this is UNIMA Puppeteers Trust India, the National Center of International Association of Puppeteers. UNIMA. What is UNIMA? Union Internationale de la Marionette. It's a platform for exchange and networking to share between people who practice puppetry, work on this art, and are passionate about this art. UNIMA is present in more than 90 countries. It is one of the oldest international theater organization in the world. UNIMA is a non-government organization affiliated to UNESCO. Its members who come all from the world contribute to development of puppetry art. It also supports meeting, conferences, exchanges, and collaborations opportunities to operate with people in all areas of puppetry, therapy, teaching, training, research documentation, collections, exhibition, etc., and supports collecting and distributing information and publication about research, courses, and workshops. We have our exclusive digital publication, Sutradhar, and the newsletter, which are present on our website, which I can show you right away. Here. Our website is called unimapuppeteertrust.in/Sutradhar. You can visit, and it's all available on our digital library for free. And our video archives are available on our official YouTube channel @Puppeteer Trust on YouTube. You can find most of the Indian puppetry documentaries, talks, glimpses of the masterclasses, and all the previous Anubhav sessions there for free. And in our digital video library, you can find all the international documentaries too. We are also present on our Instagram and Facebook as @Puppeteer Trust. You can follow us there for the constant updates and write us at puppeteertrust@gmail.com for any kind of query. So this is 10th edition of Anubhav. Now, what is Anubhav? Anubhav is an attempt by UNIMA Puppeteers Trust India, where we meet puppeteers, master puppeteers from traditional and contemporary practices, explorers, practitioners, trainers, mentor, therapists, filmmakers, or enthusiasts in the puppetry world, one-on-one live on online platform. So to know each other closely, getting inspirations and learning by sharing the experience. So in Hindi, that experience comes as Anubhav. So does the title is Anubhav. So to now I introduce and welcome our guest speaker of the day, Clément Peretjatko. Sorry for my pronunciation. Welcome, Clément. Yeah, Clément is a French puppeteer and pedagogue trained at ESNAM. He explored traditional and contemporary puppet forms through performances and workshops. His pedagogy places imagination at the heart of the learning process, encouraging creative exploration and personal expressions through the unique language of puppetry. Welcome, Clément. So now,
okay,
stage is yours.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Maybe Anurupa want to say something. I see your hand.
Yeah. Yes, can you make me co-host? Some people are waiting in the waiting room. I can just support you and get them in.
Yes.
Sorry, okay, no, that's okay. Hello, everyone. It's really a pleasure to be there, of course, with so many people. Yeah, I'm a little bit stressed, but okay, let's do it. You will have time for a question and answer because I think it's important. So,
Yes.
of course, if you have a very important question during my speak, you can ask. And also, if you don't understand, because sometimes my English, my accent could be complicated, so be free to say if you don't understand something. So, my name is Clément Peretjatko, or Peretjatko, as you said, because Peretjatko, it is a French pronunciation, and Peretjatko, it is a Ukrainian one. But I'm French, and the French pronunciation is the official one, so Peretjatko. So I have a degree of ESNAM in France. That's true. It is a puppetry school in France. I also have another degree at university. I study history of theater and movies, and I also have a last degree that I was graduate after 5 years of how to say, it's a vocational degree. It means that I was working and I again go at a university, and this degree is in political science about international management of culture. So for me, it's important now to have these three aspects in my work, because I can also work as a cultural manager, maybe. And it was very important for me as an artist to learn how to speak with politicians, to make projects, etc., etc., etc. But I'm there to speak about my artistic work and to focus also on my pedagogy, on puppetry art, because the pedagogy is something that I do more and more today. I was not very I was that in mind when I was student in puppetry school in Charleville-Mézières to become a pedagogue one day, but I was waiting more than 10 years to start to do it, because I was thinking that it's important to have artistical practice also. So as a stage director and as a puppeteer, I was working during 20 years now in more than 20 countries, included Ukraine, Kosovo, Albania, and some part of Africa. I really focus on this place. And now I try to open a little bit more on Asia Pacific, so I'm very happy. And maybe my really first experience, international professional experience, was in Sri Lanka 20 years ago. So maybe I return to something, I don't know. Many of my recent projects also have taken place in context marked by war, by displacement, or post-conflict reconstruction. So yeah, I also want to mention that. From the beginning of my journey, I work closely with playwrights and poets because I believe their relationship to language is really essential for puppetry. Poets, especially, offer a form of speech that is condensed, open, and suggestive. It is close to the way of puppet could speak, in my way of that I practice it. A puppet doesn't explain, but a puppet evokes some things. So I start with texts that were very. Oh, I have echo, I think. No, it's okay. I start to work with texts that were quite pure, if I can use this word, almost minimal, where every word have weight, and where the silence is very important also. Over time, I have moved toward more complex dramaturgies with multiple layers of voice, interruption, and fragments also. But I still carry with me that my first instinct was to work with language that ask questions instead of giving answers. So it was while I was also working on a comic performance after that, linked to the tradition of Caragueuse a little bit, I realized how crucial the rhythm of a sentence can be on puppetry art. In comedy, the text is like clockwork. You need a setup, a release, a reversal. Punctuation become physical. That's when I began to understand that language is a kind of choreography, a physical score that shapes brace, gesture, and rhythm, tempo. Later, I began, this work about on a comedy, it was more in Balkan, in Kosovo and Albania, just to explain you my geographical way also of working. After that, I start to work in Ukraine and on more political theater, political forms. And I shift from thinking about language about a language line by line to think in a block of thoughts. The paragraph become a unit of performance for me. It means that there is a breath, a respiration that begin, rise, unfold, and then breaks. The idea move like a current. In this context, for me, the puppet doesn't play a characters, but it's become a body channel to verbal energy, a conduit for spirit, for source. The text is no longer a reply; it's become a flow. It crosses the stage like a wave. It rests on breath, on gaze, on interruption. This intersection between poetry, comic structure, and political breath has deeply shaped me. It allowed me to connect seemingly opposite things: the precision of a well-written sentence, the urgency of a monologue carried by necessity, and the role of the puppet as a sensitive interface between words and the world. Puppetry for me is not about illustrating text. It's about creating a dialogue between form and words, where neither dominate and both gain new depths. So for me, the image, the puppet, or the word are in the same level, I think. Whether I work around a tradition from Ukraine, the Ukrainian vertep, or also the Caragueuse shadow tradition, to create hybrid contemporary performance. In my work, I don't want to say that it is a vertep form or that it is Caragueuse, but it's contemporary things. I don't know, but I need to explore the tradition to learn and to, it's very important for me. One element is very central in my pedagogy, and this is and. I don't know how to pronounce it very well in English, but the and is very important because it is the first instrument for a puppeteer. Before the puppet, before the stage, we have and. So I'll use and like my first tool because with my hand I can manipulate, I can sculpt, we can write also, else, it, etc., etc. The end contain its own dramaturgy to open things, to close, to hesitate, to offer something, or to protect. The end itself, it's a small puppet. It can become a wind, a bird, an old woman, or a child, or it's also where the imaginary begins. That's why I often began workshop with nothing but the naked hand. My hands are not completely naked, but I like to use it. Because it's already told the story, tension, or rhythm. And when I touch materials, for example, clay or paper or everything you want, it listens just as much as it shapes. So I propose, if you want, a little exercise that you can do with me, because I learned this exercise when I was in a puppetry school in Charleville-Mézières from Claire again, who is for me, a very important teacher about movement and pedagogic of movement. And she said that it is a mudra. Mudra is a part of dance in India. So I will be very happy to be in India, because it will be the first time next September, and maybe to learn a lot of things with you. And this is a story of a flower. So at the beginning of the day, the sun arrives and the flower is open to the sun. And at the end of the day, the flower close, because, yeah. And this is like a story a very easy story that you can tell with your hand.
Yeah.
This movement could be, sometimes it's need time to find it. Me, I need 2 days to find it. But when you have it, it's for life. And it's for me, it's very the beginning of and imagination and to tell a story. It's also you can use it as a training for puppeteer. So don't worry, for the students that I will meet in September in India. We will do this movement again and tell this beautiful story of the flower.
Yeah, that's a privilege.
Yeah,
We have you
yeah.
finally in India.
Yeah, but for the people who are not, who will be not in the workshop, I just want to practice with you a little bit today also.
Yeah.
And you can call me when you want. We make a video phone and we learn it individually if it's needed. No problem.
Definitely.
So
Yeah.
the second step of my pedagogy is the sculpture. I really like to do it, and it was really something that I learned during my puppetry school during this moment, because I was absolutely not a sculptor before. And sculpture is very central in my teaching also. It's not to create something beautiful, but to train attention. Sculpting, it's also a way to slow us down, because when you start to sculpt, you start to think also in the same way. You use your hand and you also use your brain, because you have time. It's something that you can work with time. It's very important. So it's for us to look again, to feel to the weight, the volume, and the asymmetry also. But in my approach, sculpture also rests on precise anatomical knowledge. This may sound technical, but in truth, it is quite simple to learn, and it's incredibly powerful, because when you know where to put the point in the face, etc., you after win a lot of freedom when you sculpt, because when you know the anatomical form, you can after, in a second step, deconstruct it and play with all these points, etc. So I just would like to maybe share some where it was working very well before. Just some image because sometimes it's more easy to see it. Chink, chink, just a moment. Okay. Okay, so you see my screen? You see the image? Yes. So, yes, I know it's incredible, but it is me. And maybe I don't know why, but maybe I can work for sculpture because I have a very precise anatomic style head. But okay, so I just want you to see these two characters, because it was really my first work about poetry. And you see the boy. It's I don't find the good word, but it's quite precise, his head. And what I wish at this moment was to represent a little boy who was quite pure, and it's because the anatomical precision that we have this atmosphere or of something. And okay, I just stop to share for now. This is, I don't know if you see it well, but this is the character that I have it. And oh, maybe with that, you will see it. Yeah. Yes, it's, I don't know the name of this material in English. I think it is iron. I'm not sure.
Wire.
So wire, yes.
Exactly.
Yes, exactly. Thank you. So, and I use it for shadows to create shadows because you can turn, etc. So, but I will show you. Okay, because we are there. No, I will show you different example little bit later. Just one moment. Yeah, so this anatomical grounding allows for true expressiveness, I think. And that expressiveness unconsciously guides the audience eye. A slight asymmetry, a tense line in the jaw, a deep set gaze, all of it speaks even without motion. So a sculpture becomes a silent language, a way to speak through form. I also want, so the third step is the imagination. Not imagination as a technique, but a way of seeing. Imagination is not decoration. It's not an extra layer we add at the end. No, it is a starting point of everything in my art. Imagination connects fragments. It allows things to appear, not by explaining them, but by making space for them. In puppetry, a piece of clothes became a landscape, for example. A shadow becomes a memory. A breeze becomes a question. And when words reach their limit, which they often do in time of grief or conflict, the puppet doesn't erase them, it extends them. It gives them rhythm, depth, and a kind of quiet through that move us differently. I really like to work with paper. You have there some piece of paper, for example, and you can use it as to start a point. And you can see a lot of form inside it. And in my sculpture, my work is after, for example, this is an and my accent. It is with the same paper, Yeah. So this is a form, and this another form. But so our imagination, our technique, etc. I have some head, for example, there, etc. But another one, and they are all in paper with this same paper. But I think it's important to start to explore the material at first for me. What else? Teaching, it's fragments, dupes, and discovery. In my pedagogy, I don't teach fixed technique. For example, I don't want to teach Carrageuse or Vertep because I'm not a specialist of this form, but it's also, it's not for me so important to reproduce technique, I prefer to offer fragments or challenges. For example, I can ask to the student to sculpt a memory or to animate a figure that has no face, or to create a moment from a world that doesn't exist yet. There are not exercise to solve, but it's more a kind of provocation. I ask students not to perform, but to stay in tension, to let the hand lead the source, to follow form, breathe, resistance before meaning. Because in this moment of dupes, something honest can emerge, I think. But so sometimes with this kind of technique that the anatomical technique, for example, it's also a way to, or to say that, it's a base, it's not a goal, it's really something that when you have technique, you can, after that, use more and more your imagination. And sometimes we want to use our imagination too quickly. Okay. Yes, so I like, yes, as I say, I like more and more to work with paper, because paper is very fragile and porous and minimal. With paper, there was no characters, but there were open form and space of projection. They allowed the audience to use their own imagination, because it's not only the imagination of a puppeteer or the imagination of the student who is important for me. It's also the imagination of the audience. And because as an artist, as a creator, we use our imagination, it will be more easy after for the audience to use also his own imagination. It's quite... they are crossing together. That's why I think for puppet, I can call imaginary bodies too. Forms that don't impose interpretation too much, but invite a presence. They are no closed objects. There's old. They are mirrors also sometimes. They don't need to explain, but let us feel. I just want to give you an example about one of my performance, one of the last one. It was about the Ukrainian Revolution. The name of the performance is Maidan Inferno. It was about the Maidan Revolution in Ukraine 10 years ago. And at first, so it was a political theater, but I want to represent the characters with very naturalist face for my puppet, and okay, I work like that. I work with a very good sculptor who know exactly how to do it in a really realistic way. We start the rehearsals, and something was not working. We didn't know why. We didn't know what. The puppet was very beautiful. And but it was like if we have human in miniature, and we was searching why it was not working. And after that, I say, okay, this character on stage, they can. It could be me, it could be you, it could be somebody else. It's just normal people who are going in the square in Ukraine to start the revolution. So. If these faces are too authentic, there is no place for the imagination of the audience. They will not think that it could be them. So after that, I work with this kind of face. It's Sorry for my. I think I can share one with you on the screen. Just one moment. It will be more easy to understand. Where is it? Yeah, this one. Yeah. And this one is a mix between Ukrainian tradition, whose name is vertep. Sorry, the name of this tradition is motanka. It's not directly vertep. And in this kind of motanka, you have this cross in the middle of the face. So for this work, I just add 2 eyes, also to face a little bit, to sculpt a little bit the face, like a mask à gaz, I don't know if you understand mask a gas mask, you know. And I had the mustache and the in the head, you know, like a coiffure. And these two elements are very traditional elements in Ukraine. Yep. And at this moment, by using traditional elements in a contemporary way, in a political theater and in the story of Ukraine, my wish was to combine how Ukrainian people are going deeply inside their own culture, you know, because it was the topic of this revolution. It was to say Ukraine is independent and we also have our own culture, etc., etc. So that's why I try to use some, and it is what I saw in Ukraine at this moment, that the Ukrainian people, they want to know more about the history of Ukraine. So because it's a way to prove that they was independent and they are independent now. So that's why I use this kind of traditional element as cultural identity. Yeah. I just want to go to the conclusion because you have a lot of questions, I'm sure. So for me, yes, it's important to think with the end and to imagine otherwise. To work with the end and is to stay in touch with the world. Each gesture, each sculpture, each manipulation carries a suit, unspoken but clear. So I don't want to teach puppetry as a craft to master. I teach it as a space where we can imagine differently, think with the body, our body as a puppeteer or the body of the puppet, and to let go or to let go of certainty, because to imagine today, it is the imagination today, and the use of the imagination today, for me, it's already an act of resistance. And through the end, through form, through attention, through doubt, we can still invent space we can share. So, yeah, that's all for my speech. So now it's time for a question and answer. I will be very happy to continue this conversation with you, of course.
Yeah. Thank you, Clément. Thank you for this beautiful, short, descriptive journey and influences you exert on us. We have question in chat box from Emily. Emily, would you like to unmute and ask? Or shall I read it for you? We're asking, are there any online folk puppetry resources that I could familiarize myself with? The question is, are there any online folk puppetry resources that I could familiarize with myself? So are there any links or some resources available?
About what I said. Sorry. Yeah, the sources.
Yeah.
Yes, from Karagus, you have a lot of sources, of course. And for Vertep, it's more complicated to find it, but it's possible to find it. And as I said, I'm also, in the beginning, a cultural engineer. And it is what I try to do in France and in my city, in Lyon. I will establish some, I'm working on that to next January, to know more about Vertep in my city. And because this is, for me, a European tradition from Ukraine, but we also can link to a Polish tradition whose name is Szopka. And also tradition in my city, in Lyon, because the common point It's not puppetry, but it is a way to tell the nativity. So I don't know if I can explain well the nativity in India, because nativity is part of Catholic religion. And it is the Christ, when the Christ born, etc. So so it's just to be short and to in Europe it was it was used to tell to teach people how to say it about Christianism, to for the priest to it was a tool to teach them the religion. Yes, sorry for my bad explanation. And we know that it exists in different parts of Europe. So I think for me that I want to say that it is important for me to understand that, and after I can create something about it. And it's also, I think, I'm not interested only by create something, but also to manage some cultural event and to I'm sorry, I'm very confused in my answer. But when Anurupa, when she came in Lyon last year, we start to work together and for a master class. And after the master class, she managed a conference, a conference about Indian tradition. And for me, it's very important to mix this the workshop with a kind of conference, because workshop is more practical, of course, but conference is also knowledge. And what I can say more is that it's important also for me as a pedagogue, as a teacher, to meet different pedagogues also. So it's important, of course, to work for students and because we will be in the same place to do something together. We don't know what yet, but yeah. And I don't think that there are hierarchy between us. Maybe I will be there because I don't know if I can say knowledge, but I have some experience, or sometimes I face to students who are more experienced than me, because that's also possible in different fields. But that I want to say that it is a meeting between us, that it's very important. And also when we meet with different pedagogues in the same room with students, it's really, really interesting, because at this moment, we, as a pedagogue, we are not in the center of the knowledge, because we share it with different people and with different pedagogues too. So yeah. So about references, yes, it's possible to find it, of course, about traditional references, but duped is also a part of my strategy and of my work. And sometimes the way that this tradition are referenced, are put in a library or something like that, it's not neutral. So, and maybe the concept of tradition also is something that we can think about. I can give you an example. In my city, we have a traditional character with Guignol. And in a lot of story today, we saw Guignol with his wife, with Madelon, and with another character with, I don't remember the name of this character, but it is a trio between three characters. And Guignol, his wife, and another one who is drunk, who drank a lot. And the puppeteer today in my city, they say, we are doing that because it is a tradition. And they need to be together. Yes, it's very important. But if we read the textual dramaturgy, the reference that we know, it's absolutely not proof that it is the tradition. And it means that in our imagination today, we have some way of thinking the tradition. I don't know if you understand what I mean. and sometimes it's a little bit tricky. Yeah, so it's important, of course, to have some references and to find it. But for me, it's also a practice. It means that I need to travel. I need to go in the country and to meet the puppeteer and to meet, etc., etc. And before starting my project in Ukraine, I was traveling more than 10 or 15 times. Yes, it was the same in Kosovo. It's incredible. For 2 or 3 projects, I was traveling more than 30 times in this country. So I hope that today I can reduce a little bit, because to travel 20 times to start one project is maybe a little bit too much, but it is the experience though. But yeah, so but but okay, I try to answer to your question as best as possible. But I remember when Anubhav was in Lyon, we learned, and I learned at this moment, that it was more than 20 or 23 tradition in India about puppetry art. And it was, for me, I don't know if it was a shock, but it was, very interesting. Because in my imagination in France, it's only 1 or maybe 2, or a technician or a tradition in India by technique, 1 from shadows or 1 from puppetry string, for example. But I understand with talking with Anubhav that it is really, really more complicated. Yeah. And I don't know if it is complicated, but because if Anubhav says that there is 22 or 23, I don't remember the exact number, but it's a work was done on that. So it's possible to reference it. So it's just, okay, we need to start by somewhere, of course, and today it's possible to find a lot of references. For example, in UNIMA WEPA, we have a website in the UNIMA.org, it is a website. We have the WEPA, and in this, it's a good way to start to investigate about, to learn about different tradition, etc. And yeah, of course. Yeah, thank you, Anubhav, for the link. I don't know where is the link of the WEPA. Maybe Idoia know it more. If you can share it in the chat.
I'll share it.
Yeah. Second question I have, can you please elaborate more when you say form, puppet, and image are same? How come they are same for you, and why they are same? What's the philosophical idea behind it?
I'm not sure to understand well about what. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, when you say puppet, form, and image are same, so how they are same and why they are same? What is the philosophical idea?
Yeah. Where this idea started in my mind, I think it was when I was student. It was very confused for me, all this question, because maybe it's a fault, I don't know, my teacher. It's easy to say that, but for me it was a confusion between a visual theater and image theater. It was a confusion between visual and image. And because my teacher asked me, do something visual theater. On me, I was in contradiction. It's my way of thinking. And I really want to work with text, with dramaturgy, with playwright, etc. So it was a big fight when I was a student about this. And maybe I was wrong, maybe my teacher was wrong, I don't know. And after that, I use the word of image, because for me, image is not only visual. And when you work with image, you also use text and speaking inside, and to speak with this image, to create an image on stage. And I understand that this way that maybe I have to work more with visual aspect to go deeply inside the image, and also with some text to go deeply also inside the image. So I need to find the balance between the visual aspect of my performance and about the wording, what I want to say to the audience, etc. And it's a big challenge to be honest. I respect all the way of working, of course, and sometimes some puppeteers, they prefer to start to create a puppet, a very beautiful one, it's not the question. And after that, okay, now I have my puppet, what can I do with? In which way I can use it, what kind of story I can tell, etc. Maybe. It's not exactly my way of working. Me, I prefer to think about what I want to say. What is the goal of my performance? And to be honest, when I was working, because I was speaking, about this comedy that I did in Balkan. At first, it was just to create a comedy for the audience. I didn't think about puppetry or something. Just okay. I want. It's important for me to. Because this comedy was speaking about the history of Albania, this moment, etc. And after, when I read more and more the text, etc., I understand that it could be very fascinating if I use it, if I mix it with a kind of karagöz. Karagöz is a shadow puppetry in Turkey, and not only in Turkey, in different countries in Mediterranean. And I feel, okay, I don't want to copy exactly karagöz, but it is in the same feeling, with comic style for adults, because I'm not working too much for children. I like it, but I work more for adults. And okay, so that's why I use this. I try to know more about this tradition, not as a form, but as a spirit. About, okay, what are the story inside the karagöz? What is the rhythm of karagöz? How can I use it in my own show? And after that, my performance was not a karagöz performance, but just a comedy. And so that I try to explain, I don't know if I'm very well in my explanation, but is that the story is as much important as the form that I will use. And after that, it's more easy to find the puppet that I want to use. Oh, I can share my screen again. Think. One moment. No, not this. Yeah, it was working very well when we prepared it, but after doing the conversation, we are doing something else. Yeah. Okay. Where I have to. Okay. So if you have in mind what is karagöz, it is not karagöz, but it was my drawing, and I try to be close to karagöz. Yeah, but it's not possible to say that it is a karagöz puppet, because I did it myself about what yeah. So I'm not sure. I don't know if you understand my answer, but I just want to say that maybe we can establish a hierarchy inside the show. That's possible, because sometimes words are more important than the puppet. Yeah, or sometimes it is the opposite in the same show. Yes, for sure. But the only thing that I want to say today is that it's a combination between all of these things for me, and it's the start of a work as artist director or stage manager. Yeah. Stratégie en dramaturgie. So, okay. So we have a question on the chat. How does your background in theater and film history influence your staging and dramaturgy, especially when working with rare or documentary theater text in puppetry?
I think question, Clément, there was a question before this, which says they're asking for some of your work, if they could see some more images from your work.
Yeah. I receive a lot this question, and I'm very provocative because I try to not use too much image when I speak about my work. I have a website, and you can find, if you are very fine deeper inside the website, some image. I can share it with you. My website. Oh. Wait a minute. Yes, and but I don't use too much images, to be honest. So I don't know. Maybe it's for my ego, but I really want to I want to share only one image with you. It is this image. Okay. I was student in Charleville-Mézières at this moment. And this image was used by the Institut International de la Marionette in Charleville-Mézières to speak about the one topic at this moment, because he was working on that, about the relation between body and puppet. And it was a solo that I did. And so the management of the school and the Institut International de la Marionnette used this puppet to illustrate their topic. I was quite happy because this photo was shared in a lot of countries, but nobody know today what was the goal of this performance. Because I really work on a poet from Albania whose name is Ali Podrimia, and it is a little story, very little, about shadows within dark. I play these shadows who follow step by step the Albanian people. In general, so Albanian people are in white, and it's a way to speak about the misfortune of Albany. I don't know if my English is correct. Do you understand misfortune? Yeah, about this. These people who are very aggressed by superstition, by a lot of things, and because we share too much the image, the topic was not shared. Was how to say, put in the second plan, you know. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't have too much image to share. I'm sorry. Do I answer to your question? If not, you can ask me more if you want, because I could be provocative, but you could be too.
You have already shared your website in the chat box, right? So,
okay.
Yeah. Thank you. It's COLLAPSUS.E. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. What else? It was another question about my background.
Yes.
It's so history of. So I didn't work in movies, not as professional. I just study at university the history of movies and theater, and for me it was at this moment a very wonderful time, wonderful moment because I really like to learn things when I was at university. And to be honest, when I entered in this university in France, in Rennes, in the city of Rennes, in the west of France, I learned theater, the history of theater, but also ethnology of theater, economy of theater, anthropology, a lot of things. It was wow, so fascinating. And but as a student, I say, wow, it's not possible to be a professional in all this field. I don't know how it's possible. In which way I can use all these so interesting things. I want to say that I stopped university after 3 years. It means that I don't have doctorate, PhD, or something like that. I never do something like that. I really stopped before. And after that, I was in the puppetry school in Charleville-Mézières, and it was completely different for me. And this opening of the mind, etc. No, it was not there as much as in university, because in university I was really free to learn in all aspects that I want. And in the puppetry school, who was supposed to be more free, more artistic, or I don't know, I didn't find it. It was more, okay, you have to work on glove puppet for 3 months. No, you have to work on this, on that, etc. And so I just want to see the question again. And so what I learned from this moment was, for me, the love of the dramaturgy, because it's really something that I did when I was student at university and not too much in the puppetry school. Also because it's very short to be a puppeteer in 3 years, so we don't have time to learn everything in 3 years. So maybe in puppetry school, and it is also a part of my pedagogy, we have to learn to learn. It means that because as a puppeteer today, it's a lot of different technique. Of course, if you want to learn only one, I don't know, in a traditional aspect, maybe I'm not, maybe I would say very bad things, but if you want to learn only one technique, and maybe it was possible before to do that and to be specialist in one very particular technique. Yeah, but I think today in the contemporary field of puppetry, we see a lot more and more mixed performance with different technique inside the same show, and sometimes with different tradition also inside the same show. And that's very interesting to, when we have this. And it's important for a puppeteer who learn today, if he want to work internationally and in an international level, to open his mind as much as possible. And that's why I think if we have the capacity to link with other arts, and more especially with the dramaturgy, because dramaturgy is a way to work with a different combination of form and to say something about what I want to say about the world, etc., etc. And to be honest, I think that in theater, and particularly maybe in movies today, they are very, very good in dramaturgy. You can see maybe also in mainstream movie, or in what we can say in the story who never end. Comment on appelle ça? Series.
Yeah.
Series.
Series.
Yes. The dramaturgy is very good because we are on the screen and we want to see it and to continue, etc., etc. Sometimes, and particularly, sometimes the story is really, really not interesting, but we want to know more about it. Yeah, and so it means that we can. I think we have we can learn a lot also from this perspective as a puppeteer, and it's not a shame. Yeah. Well, I think our art is more precious, of course, than storytelling, than movies or yeah. But yeah. Alors, oh yeah, good. Next question. With your involvement in organization like UNIMA and TEMA, how do you see the role of international network in supporting puppetry as a contemporary and global relevant art form? Oh, that's a very specialist question. Yes, so I didn't say that to you, but because it was important to speak, the topic today was to speak about my artistic work and pedagogical work too. But I'm also, it's true, a member of International UNIMA, and inside the executive committee as a treasurer. We have the vice president there, Anubhav. We have ancien general secretary, Idoia Otegi is there. And yes, it's very important to have this kind of organization in a national level, and you have this case in India, for example. TEMA is the name of the French UNIMA. And it is the first door, of course, to work internationally, also to know how to work nationally. And this kind of, and UNIMA, it's a lot of things, and it's also a really, really great network, I think, around the world, because it's one of the most, it is the most ancien network, because we will celebrate the centenary in 4 years. So it means that it is the oldest international network in the cultural sector in the world. And it is us, puppeteer. So that's really cool. So, of course, UNIMA alone, it's not possible to do everything, because UNIMA is a tool for me. It's really a tool for artists to establish more network and to know how it works internationally. To be honest, some international festival around the world already exist, and they don't need UNIMA to continue. So it's possible to work internationally without UNIMA also. But UNIMA is there to also to provoke some contact, and that's why it's very essential to continue, because normally it is not a place to establish hierarchy between form or between artistic, artistic form. Is it understandable? Between aesthetic, yes, yeah. Because in UNIMA we are quite all equal, and so yeah. What can I say? And UNIMA is also official partner of UNESCO. And we are working more and more to establish more contact with UNESCO. And for me, this is very, very important, because if I learn that this 23 tradition in India, it is an example, could be in danger or could be reduced in one for different reasons, this is not acceptable for us as puppeteer. And sometimes it could be complicated to work with our government for any reason, but we have UNESCO, who it's a possibility to turn around, and yeah. Yeah, this is for me one very important thing that UNIMA can provoke. Also, we spoke a little bit about reference, about this very crazy and long project, WEPA, where you can find a lot of documents about puppetry art on the website. So it means that a lot of people was working for that and continue to work for that. And so it's a quite safe place where there is normally no fake news about puppetry, if fake news exists, because fake news will be a big challenge in the future. And as I said, we already faced to kind of fake news because sometimes we have a perception of a tradition who could be false also. So yes, UNIMA is also there to preserve that. And I think it continues that it's important that it continues. Yes, Idoia, please, if you want to say something about it.
Yes, if I may add something to what Clément said about what can UNIMA, or what does UNIMA about for the puppeteers around the world. I may say that Clément said something, but I think that UNIMA does have done a lot and does a lot about for puppeteers around the world. We have here with us also Gilbert Bide. Sorry if I mispronounce his name, but for instance, in Africa, UNIMA is done a lot for the network between the African countries, and it's thanks to UNIMA that they are working very well now, and they are making a lot of things, and they are doing a lot of training, and well, they are like revitalizing the work between all the African countries, and this is thanks to UNIMA, and the same in the Latin American countries. And so I think UNIMA is a great organization that, as Clément said, is the oldest organization in the world, and thanks to UNIMA, a lot of things are happening all around the world for training, researching, and very last year, last May, it was in May, the heritage certificates of recognition has been given, and thanks to this, a lot of people has been recognized, and there are a lot of things that are happening, and this is thanks to UNIMA. So I think maybe Clément was focusing in another thing, but there are a lot of things that are happening thanks to UNIMA. And if UNIMA doesn't exist, I think all these things wouldn't happen. Sorry, Clément, for having.
Yeah, no, it's completely true. I have there the Uni magazine. This is the new magazine, International magazine of UNIMA. It's also possible to find it online for free. So, and it will be developed in the future also, because it is only number one, but new number will arrive. And yeah, so it's good to know that this kind of project happen also, and that we can have an international magazine about puppetry art. Yeah, Anubhav, please.
Yeah, it's not a question, it's more of a comment to just add to what Clément said and what Idoia spoke about. Because in India, there are 23 living traditions, and some of them are in a lot of danger. And the Heritage Commission awards that were given to 6 puppet masters by UNIMA this year are very significant, because it's international recognition, which sometimes means that these puppeteers can then ask for similar recognition in their own countries. And also it gives a lot of self-esteem to the art form, because one of the big challenges to traditional and folk art forms in India is self-esteem. The next generation doesn't want to continue. And I'm very happy to announce that this year we are going to do the first of its kind puppet folk lab in India, for which Clément is going to be here in September. And it is going to invite 10 young puppeteers, the next generation of traditional puppet forms. And they are going to be together, improvising together, working with each other, and also with a little bit of facilitation from experts like Dadi Padamji, Ranjana Pandey, to talk about design, narrative, and some work with Clément, like he said, to think freely and look at what could the tradition become to address new audiences. And at the end of it, they will receive, they're all under 40, and 4 of them will receive a grant to create a new performance by a festival which will happen in Goa. So this is very, very significant, because we've been talking for a very long time about what is preservation. Is it putting puppets in museums only? Is it only making video documentations? But where it's living tradition, it is also revitalizing the form. It is putting some energies there. And this is possible because UNIMA as a union exists. It's not possible for individuals to do this. Also to invite international artists to be a part of this. So it's a very significant organization, even for the future of young puppeteers. And I just wanted to add that. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am. So is there any other question from the participants, audience? If you have any question, you can either raise your hand or speak, or you can text in the chat box. So meanwhile, we have another question to continue. And if there is no more question, we can switch.
No, I see Rose. Rose want to ask something.
Yeah, it is.
You are mute. Yeah. Okay.
Just I had a question about, I'm really fascinated what you hear. I love your approach. I'm fairly new to the puppetry. I would love to learn more. Do you give master classes, workshops? As you said, apart from being a student in Théâtre Lyon, it's maybe not possible for everybody, but maybe do you come over? I'm in the UNIMA Island. I'm the secretary, so maybe we could also, could we organize workshops, or could I come over to France?
In France, we are. I am independent, so it's only depend of the project, So yeah, and as I unfortunately we are in a very it's not the best moment in cultural policy in France. It's not the most interesting one. Just to give you an example, I was supposed to be in India last January, but for, I don't want to say it there, but for a lot of reasons, the project was postponed. And so it will be done in September. Just in my situation in Lyon, I'm supposed to start a master class in these days in Lyon. And with the Ministry of Culture, I didn't receive the formal answer if I have to do it or not, So it's really, really complicated to organize things. And in a way, it could be so easy to organize masterclass, but in a other way, sometimes with some administrative event, etc. It's And I want to say that when I start in Balkan in Kosovo, it was so easy just to take a flight ticket and to go there and to do a project. So I really want to continue and to develop my way of doing masterclass, but I don't have permanent place to do it, etc., etc. So it's only project by project. But of course, I will be very happy to prepare something. And as I say, maybe it's too much complicated in my mind sometimes. But I like when I don't remember by which way we meet with Anubhav. It was not a conventional way, I think. But I like when it's when the project arrives, in a manner that we don't accept it, or I don't know. So yeah, I'm very happy to. I will be very happy, but I don't have a permanent structure and things like that. Yeah.
Rose, you're welcome to come to India to join the masterclass. That we're doing with Clément.
I live in. I live in Ireland, so it will be quite far, and I'm already volunteering for the herd in Trondheim next week or whatever, 2 weeks. So I have to be a bit careful, but maybe I could come over to France and see something, because that would be more easy for me.
Yeah, it's also because it's quite new for me to start to teach, to be honest. So that's why I don't have maybe this established things. And because when I start, really, it was during my project in Kosovo or in Africa also, or in Ukraine, because I was working inside theater because we was agree with the theater to make a performance, and the actors was not puppeteer. They were actors, and I need to find at this moment a way for them to be involved as puppeteer inside the project. So my pedagogical approach starts there, to be honest. And today, when I work with students, or when it is not directly connected to a project, it's can be a different approach. But I like to personalize the approach also, so yeah, my workshops are not the same. But and I will be afraid if I will have one workshop, for this one and not another one. Yeah, I don't know. Good, I speak too much. But as a cultural engineer, sometimes when we are when we want to do a project together, we can also work together on by which way we will find the financial aspect to go in this project. It's also a part of the work that we have to do today, I think. Yeah, and in Europe we have a lot of some possibility, I think, for the artist, or for the artist to move to one part of the Europe to another one. It will be more and more.
Yes, Clément, I think in Ireland there's quite a few grants, all sort of, Celtic inheritance, all those cultural things, and especially if it's about Celtic and Irishness, there's a lot of grants. I'm not too informed about it, but I will talk about it with other UNIMA members also and see what I could do, because the UNIMA Island, I know this is India, it was organized by the UNIMA India, but I'm thinking about now the UNIMA Island. It's quite a new and a young group, and personally, I would love to see international teachers coming over to Ireland. The whole idea of networking, that we in Ireland could learn from people like you, Clément.
Yeah. Thank you very much. It's true that in Europe, we have also a lot of countries where we don't have established puppetry school, and sometimes it's not the same situation in all the countries. Yes, that's completely true. And in my experience, when there are strong puppetry school, it's because there are also a strong network after that, and it's and a strong political, cultural, Yeah, but I know a little bit quite well the system in Ukraine because I was working there a lot. And so they have a very important school in Ukraine, puppetry school. And they also have a lot of permanent theater in Ukraine. It means that the educational system in culture is strong because when the students are graduate, they have work also. They can work in a permanent theater. The challenge today in Ukraine is to be more independent, but it's a lux to have this kind of challenge. In France, we have only one school, puppetry school, ESNAM, but in the French system, it's only artists. We are independent because we don't have permanent theater. It's not work like that. The artist, when we have a performance, we have to go to one theater, to another one theater, etc., to make a tour. And the way of Charleville-Mézières of the school is we learn in this way. In Ukraine, they learn in the way to work in a permanent theater. You know, so what I mean that the national context also direct the way of the school. And maybe today, as international organization like UNIMA, and or I don't know, but we need to think about how it is to be an international puppeteer or international artist, because we need to know, the challenge is to know what's happened inside your own country, but how it's possible to work in different cultural contexts also. And so it's a little bit another step as aesthetic, but yes, it's a really big challenge. And I think that I really like this project in India because this school is, if I understand well, it's quite new also, and it means that it will be, for the moment, it's between formal and informal, you know. So it's a way that it's a moment that we can do a lot of things, and after, when it is more formal, it's more complicated to move link. But that's a very interesting challenge, and I will be very happy to be in other country like that, where there are no established school also for puppetry art.
Yeah. Thank you, Clément, for the beautiful answer and addition from Rose. We have last 1 more minute. So is there any question from the audience today, from the listeners today, before we conclude the session today? So very enriching, and I'm glad that we are 25 continued and 33 highest today. The highest attendance of this Anubhav session so far. And
so we also received the testimony of Erast Mandera in the chat. Erast is from Burundi. I just want to highlight it because sometimes internet is complicated in Burundi. So I don't know if he can speak. If it is easy for him to speak because the internet connection. But he just says that in Burundi the situation is also complicated for. And with UNIMA Italy, they start a partnership between UNIMA Italy and UNIMA Burundi to also on this question of education, you know, of training, etc. So yeah, I think this kind of solidarity is also important between UNIMA. Yeah.
Yeah. So if there is no more question, then I request everyone who stayed up so far, can you please turn on your video so that we can have final closing selfie all together? Lipika, Emily, Gopal, Rashida, Samakat, Iraste, maybe if internet is working. Mala, Satmala man, Goranga sir. We have last Anubhav with Goranga sir, and we are glad you joined today. We have Idoya from UNIMA Heritage. Thank you. Just 3 seconds, hold, smile, say puppetry. Yeah. Yes, Natumala ma'am, you can unmute and speak.
I could not put the video on.
Oh, no problem. Maybe the no problem, no problem.
Okay.
But glad to hear you that you are here.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So I would like, on behalf of UNIMA Puppeteers Trust India, I would like to thank Clément. Vote of thanks. Thank you so much to agree and come on board and share your inspiring journey with us and in sharing your this beautiful thoughts and philosophy on the puppetry pedagogy with us. And we are so excited to have you in India in September here. Hopefully, we will have more collaborations. And to the rest of the participants, our email ID I already put in the chat box. It's puppeteertrust@gmail.com. For more details, you can also visit our website www.unimapuppeteers.in. And Sutradhar is already shared with our co-host and Vice President of UNIMA International, Anubhav today. Thank you for helping me co-host today. Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for joining from every corner of the world today. This was Anubhav 10 with Clément Peretjatko. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.